In a world that celebrates noise, the quiet ones are often misunderstood. If you are not seen rushing, struggling, or constantly proving yourself, people quickly decide you are not doing enough. But what if that assumption is the biggest mistake we make about human potential? In a small neighborhood in Austin, Texas, Lucas lived under that exact judgment. To everyone around him, he looked like a boy with no drive, no urgency, and no ambition. He was the one people overlooked, the one they expected nothing from. Yet behind that calm exterior was a mind constantly analyzing, observing, and thinking several steps ahead of everyone else. Then an unexpected opportunity arrived. The same boy everyone dismissed quietly stepped forward into the challenge. What happened next revealed a truth no one in his town was prepared for. Watch this story till the very end, because what you are about to see will make you question how some people who seem as lazy around you are actually thinking far ahead of everyone else. In a quiet neighborhood in Austin, Texas, Lucas lived a life most people misunderstood. To the outside world, he was the definition of wasted potential. Teachers often marked him as careless and unmotivated. His assignments were rarely impressive, his participation in class was almost invisible, and his results never reflected brilliance. To them, he was simply a boy who refused to try. Outside the school walls, the judgment continued. Neighbors would often see Lucas sitting on the porch for hours, staring into space while other children ran around playing sports or talking loudly in groups. His stillness was mistaken for laziness. His silence was taken as emptiness. Even among classmates, his name became an example of what not to become in life. But Lucas was not empty. He was observant in a way no one understood. While others chased attention, he studied patterns. While others spoke without thinking, he listened carefully. He noticed how people repeated mistakes, how effort was often wasted on the wrong things, and how outcomes depended less on intensity and more on direction. His quietness was not absence of ambition. It was calculation. Inside his mind, Lucas was always working. He analyzed problems differently, breaking them down instead of rushing into them. He paid attention to details others ignored, not because he lacked motivation, but because he questioned everything around him. Why effort failed, why some succeeded faster, and why hard work alone did not guarantee results. Still, none of this was visible to the world around him. They only saw a boy who did not fit expectations. A boy who did not respond to pressure the way others did. A boy who seemed disconnected from the race everyone else was running. The announcement came on a regular school morning, delivered through the intercom with the kind of excitement that immediately changed the atmosphere of every classroom. A statewide innovation competition would be held in San Francisco. It was open to selected students across Texas, designed to challenge creativity, intelligence, and problem-solving ability. The reward was life-changing, a full scholarship and direct access to leading figures in technology and innovation. The news spread quickly through the school corridors. Students began forming groups, discussing ideas, and imagining victory. For many, it felt like a defining moment, a chance to prove themselves beyond grades and classroom reputation. Teachers encouraged the brightest students, pointing them toward registration forms and preparation materials. Lucas heard the announcement. No one expected him to be interested. In fact, most people assumed he would ignore it like he ignored everything else that required effort. His name was not mentioned in any recommendation list, and no teacher considered him a serious contender for something so competitive. But that evening, Lucas sat alone, reviewing the competition details with calm focus. He read everything carefully, not with excitement, but with analysis. The structure of the contest, the scoring system, and the judging criteria all mattered more to him than the prize itself. While others imagined winning, Lucas studied how winning would actually be determined. Without telling anyone, he registered. The first round of the competition began in a large examination hall filled with hundreds of students from different schools across Texas. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the sound of pens moving rapidly across paper and the quiet pressure of time running out. Every participant knew that only the highest scorers would move forward, and no one wanted to be eliminated early. The test was designed to challenge speed, accuracy, and problem-solving under pressure. Most students reacted the same way. They rushed through every question, determined to attempt everything, believing effort alone would secure their place in the next round. Papers were filled with incomplete solutions, corrections, and frantic attempts to keep up with the ticking clock. Lucas moved differently. He read each section carefully, not with urgency but with calculation. Instead of trying to solve everything, he identified patterns in the scoring system. Some questions carried more weight than others, while several required time-consuming steps for minimal reward. He made a decision that went against the behavior of everyone around him. He focused only on the high-value problems. While others spread their attention thin, Lucas concentrated his effort where it mattered most. He skipped entire sections without hesitation, saving time and mental energy. His approach was calm, controlled, and deliberate. There was no panic in his movements, only precision. When the final minutes approached, many students were still struggling to complete their papers. Lucas had already finished. He reviewed his selected answers once, then waited quietly for submission. The results were released days later. Lucas passed the first round. The reaction around him was immediate. Students who once dismissed him began to notice his name on the list of qualifiers. Teachers who had doubted him revisited his performance with confusion. There was nothing flashy about his score, but it was effective, strategic, and enough to move him forward. For Lucas, it was not a moment of celebration. It was confirmation that his way of thinking worked. He had not done more than others. He had simply chosen better. The second round of the competition raised the stakes. This time, it was not about answering questions on paper. It was about creation. Each participant was required to build a working prototype that solved a real-world problem. The goal was to test innovation, technical skill, and creativity under pressure. The hall transformed into a workshop of noise and motion. Tools clanked, wires were connected and disconnected, and ideas were tested in rapid failure and correction. Students worked with intensity, convinced that complexity was the key to impressing the judges. Many built advanced machines filled with multiple functions, flashing lights, and elaborate designs that looked impressive but were difficult to operate. Lucas did not follow the crowd. He spent the first part of the round observing rather than building. While others rushed into construction, he studied the evaluation criteria provided by the judges. One detail stood out clearly. Simplicity, practicality, and real-world usefulness carried more weight than technical complexity. That realization changed his approach. Lucas decided to build something small and direct. He focused on a problem that affected ordinary households, wasted electricity from devices left running unnecessarily. Instead of creating a complicated system, he designed a simple device that could monitor and reduce unnecessary power usage. It was easy to understand, affordable to produce, and effective in function. His workspace remained uncluttered. No excessive parts. No unnecessary features. Every component had a purpose. While others struggled to complete their ambitious machines, Lucas refined his idea with quiet confidence. When presentation time arrived, the difference was clear. Some students showcased impressive but unstable inventions that barely worked under testing. Others presented complex systems that confused even the judges. Lucas stepped forward with a small, functional prototype and explained it with clarity. His focus was not on impressing with difficulty, but on proving usefulness. The judges evaluated each entry carefully. Despite its simplicity, Lucas's project stood out. It solved a real problem in a practical way without unnecessary complication. Once again, he advanced to the final round. And once again, attention shifted toward the boy no one had taken seriously at the beginning. The final round of the competition arrived in San Francisco, where the atmosphere felt heavier than before. Only a few contestants remained. This round was different. It was not about writing answers or building machines. It was about communication, clarity, and impact. Each finalist had to present their idea in front of a panel of judges and a live audience. The challenge was to explain not only what they built, but why it mattered and how it could change real lives. Many participants prepared long speeches filled with technical terms, complicated explanations, and ambitious promises. They believed depth and complexity would earn respect. Lucas prepared differently. He did not overload his presentation with unnecessary details. He structured his thoughts around three simple points: the problem, the solution, and the impact. He understood that clarity was stronger than volume, and that understanding mattered more than impressive language. When his turn arrived, he walked to the stage with calm confidence. The room was silent, filled with expectation shaped by curiosity and surprise. Lucas began speaking. His explanation was direct and easy to follow. He described how wasted electricity affects households, how simple solutions are often ignored in favor of complex ones, and how his device offered an affordable way to reduce unnecessary energy use. Every sentence he uttered had a purpose. The judges listened closely. There was no confusion, no distraction, only understanding. While other presentations faded into complexity, Lucas's idea stood clearly in the room. When he finished, the silence lingered for a moment before the judges exchanged quiet agreement. The decision was made. Lucas Cole was declared the winner of the competition. The boy once labeled lazy stood at the center of success, not because he worked more than others, but because he worked differently. His strength was not in effort alone, but in direction, focus, and clarity of thought. In that moment, everything people believed about him changed and was replaced with a simple truth. This story carries a truth that almost everyone misses. We live in a world that is in love with motion. We admire people who always look busy. We respect those who push themselves to exhaustion. But anyone who pauses, observes, or moves differently is quickly labeled as lazy. Yet not everything that moves is making progress, and not everything that is still is empty. Lucas understood something many people forget. He did not rush to prove himself. He did not follow the noise. Before he acted, he observed. Before he worked, he understood. He had what is called a prepared mind. And as the saying goes, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. But this story is not against hard work. Hard work still matters. Effort is still necessary. Discipline still builds greatness. The difference is this: hard work without direction leads to exhaustion, but hard work with clarity leads to results. As another saying goes, work smarter, not harder, is not about doing less, it is about doing what matters most. There is also a quiet truth in all of this. Still waters run deep. Not everyone who is quiet is lost, and not everyone who is slow is behind. Some people are thinking, preparing, and choosing their steps carefully. In the end, Lucas did not avoid effort. He avoided waste. And when the moment came, he moved with purpose, precision, and confidence. Now I want to hear from you. In the comment, tell me what lesson stood out most to you. Wisdom, preparation, patience, or smart thinking. And have you ever achieved something not by working harder, but by thinking differently? Your story might inspire someone who feels left behind right now. If this story touched your heart in any way, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories on hope, mindset, and success. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story that reminds you that hope still exists, even in silence. I will be back again with another powerful story. Until then, be patient and stay grateful.